나와 신나고 뻔게 또 신나 샤바와키 신나무 키크라니 짜이 샤바키라니 짜이무 키크라니
Stibbidi dop 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 dop. Yes, 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 yes. Stibbidi dip, stibbidi double, double. Yes.
Yep, you guessed it. That's Clint's girlfriend and why he is not here. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. My name's Luke Radowski here of the best politicalshow.com, and we will be going live for the next 2 hours discussing all the latest and craziest news developing right now, as of course there's a lot to talk about, specifically when it comes to Joe Rogan. That looks like he just entered the political campaign cycle, as there are some major promises from him that are definitely going to be having an impact on this, as the corporate media is already having a meltdown and freak out about this, as there's also new alleged attempts on Trump's life. There's a real one and a fake one. Lots of other crazy news regarding Iran, mystery drone swarms, and allegedly aliens. What's going on? Well, that's exactly what we are going to be talking about here on thebestpoliticalshow.com for the next 2 hours. So please share this broadcast with your friends and family members. Truly, we would not be here as an independent media organization if it wasn't for you guys doing that. And that's why we try to give back to you as much as we can through lukeunfiltered.com. We do in real life meetups. We're going to do a new one soon here in South Florida. So stay tuned for updates surrounding that, as of course we are definitely going to be looking to work with some of you guys. Some people came out to these meetups and became big parts of this independent media organization. So shouts out to all the members, all the people who are willing to make friends in real life. And of course, by becoming a member, you also get the ability to call into our live show and be a part of it. So don't forget to, of course, sign up right now, and you get access to a Telegram channel. I am inside of that Telegram channel right now, and I will be going to you in about an hour and a half to be one of the callers that gets to be a part of the conversation. First-time callers also get a free product on wearechange.shop, and we are going to be doing everything in our power to read any and all super chats, but of course, we are going to be prioritizing mysuperchat.com, as of course, I think you have to press the shutter button on Steph's camera. There might be an issue here. Press the button here, guys. There we go. As we upgraded Stephanie's camera to literally be the best camera in the room right now. And previously Steph was like, why do I have the worst camera? Well, now you got the best camera out there available. And Matt helped us out with that as well. Matt's here in this house. Our guest is a little late, so we're going to, of course, wait until she gets here so she could introduce herself. But we got some really other great people joining us, including, of course, Tatiana. Tatiana, for the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
Hey, everybody. My name's Tatiana Moroz. I am a Bitcoin Tatiana Coin pioneer, and I also do music, and I have events, which actually you guys have probably heard me talking about the Counterparty. We're going to have a lot of We Are Change people there, but we moved it till January 25th to the 26th, because we were expecting some kind of crazy weather, and honestly, it wasn't that bad down here, but here we are, January. We'll see you, and I'm sure everybody will be cold by then, so it'll be more appealing to come to Florida. Yeah,
lots of people canceled their appearances on this show. Even today, there was supposed to be another person that was here, but the hurricane that really wasn't here affected that as well. So your event is moved. I know Public Square was doing a big event in Orlando. That got moved as well, and they were doing some really big things with a lot of very high-profile people. But anyway, Matt is here. Matt, thank you so much for allowing us to use some of your cameras. For the people who don't know who you are, who are you?
I am...
I think the microphone's actually plugged, not plugged in. So, Steph, you go through the introductions and introduce Matt. Go ahead. Speak into the mic. Bring it up. Yep, you're good to go. Yep, perfect.
I'm Matt Lepasic, and I'm a lover of Jesus and a fellow truther here, working with Luke for quite a long time, and that's about it.
Yeah, 15 years, I think. It's 20 years. It's been a while.
17, 18 years, I think.
Yeah, we're getting old. Steph is also in the house as well.
Hey everyone, this is Steph We Are Change with an upgraded camera.
Look at that camera. Wow.
Yeah. I'm actually not really used to it, and I don't want to look, but I'm happy to be here pushing the buttons.
And thank you, Matt, for letting us borrow your new cameras as well. We also have an Atlas cam. Atlas, where are you? Get. Where is she?
She's flirting with my dog.
She's couch, please. Let's show everyone the Atlas cam. Look at that. Look at this high-level, technological, advanced, new podcast. She totally missed that one. What are you doing here? Here you go. There you go. Very good. So now we have a new Atlas cam just dedicated to, of course, her. And we're always upgrading on thebestpoliticalshow.com since, of course, we are thebestpoliticalshow.com. If you have that name, you got to live up to it. And we are always upgrading. We are always adding little small things to our studio and making it the best available studio possible.
We should ask our viewers if everything is checking out okay, like a sound check, because I'm getting some funny messages here on the Rumble chat.
Everything seems fine on my end.
Reverb. They're saying there might be a reverb.
Just disconnect and connect your thing and just speak into the mic, and it should be fine.
Hello, testing.
Yes, and then Atlas is knocking some stuff down. Atlas, what are you doing? Get back on the couch. Thank you very much. Appreciate you very much. Atlas always has a lot to say. Atlas, hey.
So Steph's
There
mic
you
has
go.
double audio. I don't echo.
She's such a good girl.
I
Yes.
hear Steph 2 times.
Plug in, plug out your microphone and
Fixed.
disconnect.
It's fixed. All right, we did it.
Okay. This is live.
We got it!
So we definitely do not, of course, pre-script a lot of this stuff. It just kind of happens, and you guys are a big part of it. Let's talk about the first story as we await our guest to get here. She's a woman, and she's late. And she's from Miami. What a surprise. Anyway, the story continues, as I think the biggest story right now in our political discourse is Joe Rogan getting involved and soon interviewing Donald J. Trump. Here's the clip from the Nelk Boys that released this over the weekend that definitely got a lot of people buzzing and talking.
You're doing a lot of podcasts recently. One that I would love to see you on is, I think Joe Rogan has to have you on.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Oh, sure, I would.
I think Joe, like, besides us, Joe's
I think
obviously-
I'm doing it, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you are going to do Joe Rogan?
Yeah, I am.
Joe Rogan's the best in the game for sure. And I think, you know,
Did
him
Joe
having-
become so well known because of the UFC? And he does a great job with that, right? What was it that made Joe the best?
during COVID, you know, he was very outspoken on all the corruption going on during COVID. And I think that's personally when I started watching him a lot too. And just, he's an honest guy too, right?
He is.
So I think
Good guy.
good guy. And I think you guys together would just
And he's got a good voice. That's important.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think people really don't kind of understand the larger ramifications from all of this. This is a major big deal. This is something that is huge, something that, of course, is just absolutely incredible, but will change the political landscape. As, of course, there's going to be a lot of fireworks from this. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be deciding who they're voting for based off this particular podcast. What do you guys think is going to happen during this podcast? As, of course, Joe Rogan isn't just kind of usual corporate media interviewer. He kind of goes off on a lot of different tangents. He likes to talk about DMT. He likes to talk about aliens. He has his own kind of proclivities. He has his own particular interests. And I think a lot of people are expecting this to be just a home run. But anything could happen, especially with Joe Rogan, as, of course, there was a little bit of a tiff between the two not so long ago.
I think Trump's going to kill it. I mean, if there's one thing that he's good at, it's good at, you know, he's good at talking. He's answering everybody, you know, like he's pretty off the cuff. It's not his first rodeo. I don't think that Joe Rogan is going to be that much different. I mean, if anything, I'd love to see him ask Trump about the vaccines and stuff like that, because that's one of the main things that people are mad about. But, you know, I don't know if he's going to ask him about that. And, you know, we'll see.
Well, that was the issue that made Joe Rogan a right-wing ultra-fascist, if you remember, back during those lockdown days. He kind of came out and said, you guys should probably do your own research and not just blindly get injected with random stuff that was rushed through everything. So there is a kind of larger disconnect there. As we know, Donald Trump has kind of been a little wishy-washy on that particular issue that YouTube really hates hearing about and talking about.
As soon as I said it, I was like, oh. But this is kind of interesting because that's why Rogan was censored, and so many people are being censored for that specific topic. So it's crazy to see it still going on now, unfortunately, especially with all the evidence that's come out to kind of make things a little bit less clear.
No, and I think the bar has been set really high, right? Because these one-on-one interviews that Trump's been doing, whether it's with Schultz or with Lex Friedman, allowed us to peer, into Trump's lives and get some, more personal details and sound bites, and it wasn't just the regular interviews that we see. So I think that Joe really is going to feel that he has a responsibility and an opportunity to do better than they have done. So I think he's putting all of his homework into it, and he knows if he takes this on, that he's really going to have to hit it out of the park.
Mac Lawson in the house, someone who's a little late.
Sorry.
That traffic is brutal, though.
Shame. It kept going, adding, and my anxiety was going up and up.
We have some things that could help deal with that if you want on
nice.
on wearechange.shop as well. But for the people who don't know you, who are you and how would you introduce yourself?
I'm a stand-up comedian, and I guess that's how I would introduce myself.
Awesome.
Habitually late person too.
Yes, like most women here in Miami. We got one of our products here that I think, if you want, might really help you out. Yep, it helps me out particularly with that issue myself, but it's something that I use as well. So right now we're just talking about the larger kind of changing political landscape, as Joe Rogan is going to be, according to Donald Trump and the Nelk Boys, soon be interviewing Donald Trump.
I saw that.
What do you think is going to happen during that interview? Because I keep telling people, hey, something could happen where it's not as people expect it to be. There could be, a clashing. There could be a butting of the heads here as the two differed on so many issues. And I think Joe Rogan, especially with the little tiff and the little kind of anger that Donald Trump showed him a few weeks ago, could also come at Donald Trump a little bit as well.
I mean, I think Trump is pretty good at maintaining a certain image, but I think that Joe Rogan naturally, as a comedian, is going to try to ask the questions that are going to make him uncomfortable, and for ratings too. So
Rogan previously talked about this, and he talked about how he really wanted to know what it feels like to enter the White House and to understand what people are screwing with you and what they're saying, since a lot of people are also kind of thinking about the larger conspiracies here and the larger kind of game here. As Bill Hicks famously said, that when you become president of the United States, they literally put you in a dark room and they show you the second angle of the Zapruder film and highlight what happened to previous presidents who, of course, didn't play ball. Now, I think Donald Trump isn't playing ball in many aspects of the establishment, but in some ways he also is. But this is going to be something that I think also people need to understand is going to be a situation where Joe Rogan now is probably going to be asking Kamala Harris to also be on his podcast as well. Will Kamala Harris?
Now that's the real comedy right there. Oh my God, that's going to be great.
I'll watch these episodes for sure.
Yes. Now, if you're Kamala's doing a Fox News interview soon. Will she be doing this one? Will she be doing Joe Rogan?
No
I
way.
don't think she could possibly do Joe Rogan.
It's too unscripted. You have to actually just be yourself. I don't think
she
so.
can't do that. I mean,
3 hours of an unscripted conversation?
Oh, no way.
I don't see her doing that.
It would be probably good for her if she did. I mean,
well, they're going to start asking her about Willie Brown and how she got to where she is. I don't know if she wants to answer those questions.
She should just be honest. She'd probably get more votes.
That doesn't really work for the establishment and the Build Back Better Bidenomics and everything else that they've been lying to us about. Since, of course, if they told the truth, if Kamala came in there and told the truth about the border, the economy, and her larger plans for a democratic takeover, and to allow all these other larger corporations and monstrosities like BlackRock and State Street to kind of come in and do whatever they want with the American public, I don't think that would work. I don't think that would be something that would be a kind of galvanizing voting rallying call, as already the corporate media is kind of freaking out about this. MSNBC came out and they talked about how Joe Rogan is converting people to, quote, fascism. Yes, that's not a hyperbolic statement. This is a statement made by MSNBC analyst Mara Gay, perfect name for someone on MSNBC, who came out and said this.
Is actually for all men. You know, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country. I think that plays out different ways. And not all men are in crisis, of course. And not all men are just at home listening to Joe Rogan, being angry or being recruited to fascism. Some just need therapy, like we all do. I go to therapy. That's great. But I think we need to have a real conversation about that rather than allowing this kind of drift toward this faux masculinity that we see Donald Trump evincing.
And what I see
And then we wonder why the Democratic political party has specific issues trying to attain the male vote.
Do you think she's single? I bet you she's single.
Most of them are. I think with the way that social dynamics are working right now, I think everyone's single, except for a few sane, rational people who, of course, aren't made crazy through the algorithms that we are all forced to ingest through these psychological tricks that are played on us. But anyway, I don't see Kamala Harris doing any sort of larger kind of podcast interview that's 3 hours, especially with Joe Rogan. Now, if she was trying to win, she should do it. She might be just desperate enough to do it, as of course this Fox News conversation I think is going to be telling, since this is the first time that we see Kamala kind of going into the lion's den. And it's not even a lion's den. She's going to be interviewed by what's his name, Brett Barr. He's not even that much of a kind of right-wing guy, so it should be a very fascinating conversation, since of course Kamala Harris refused to do the Fox News presidential debate. So she's going to be sitting down with Fox News now, and I think they're using this as a marker to how she could potentially deal with some loaded questions, some hard questions. And I think they are actually thinking about doing a Joe Rogan experience, because if you're Joe Rogan, you're going to feel a lot of pressure from this. If you remember, when he wasn't playing ball with the larger kind of lockdowns, with the larger kind of sickness agenda that was going out there to the general public, they defamed him every way that they could. They went after him brutally. They brought up all these old tapes. They brought up all these old things he said. They compiled them together, and they launched, I think, one of the most vicious attacks and smear pieces on him, because he was essentially unraveling a lot of the scams, a lot of the schemes that they needed people to be ignorant on for them to work. And now I think Joe Rogan, if he does this podcast, is going to feel tremendous amount of pressure. And I think we're going to see the start of a lot more freakouts, and also, more importantly, a lot more of just corporate media centered attacks against Joe Rogan.
But hasn't he been vindicated at this point?
Absolutely.
I mean, the environment back then when they were vilifying him was very different from now. I think a lot of people have come around. So I don't know. I mean, he's a pretty natural interviewer, so I'm not sure how much pressure he's going to take on. I'll actually tune into that. I mean, people asked me if I was going to watch some kind of debate tonight. I was like, I don't care. But I'll watch Trump on Rogan. I think that'll be interesting.
Is that tonight?
No, there's Elizabeth Warren is doing some kind of a debate tonight, I guess, and I just don't care.
Well, the Nelk Boys are releasing their podcast with Donald Trump today, so that should be also interesting and fascinating.
Smart for him to go on all these podcasts.
Yeah.
So smart.
Well, allegedly it's Barron Trump. It's not even Trump's PR people. It's literally his son that's coming out and being like, you should do Theo Vaughn. You should do all these other podcasts that humanize you, that show you like you're kind of a real person. You saw Kamala kind of adopt to that when she did that ladies podcast. I forgot the name of it. That everyone was recently talking about. No.
Call Her Daddy?
Yes, she did Call Her Daddy. She did Call Her Daddy, which kind of shows that the Democratic establishment machine is kind of watching and saying, Yeah, he's getting all the support. He's getting all the people that are now voting for him because of these podcasts, because of these natural moments, because of this new form of media that isn't centrally controlled, that isn't tightly scripted, that isn't everything that we just want to regurgitate to you in these small talking points. You can't just hand Joe Rogan a script and tell him to read it off, as of course that's what the corporate media does. There was even a mainstream journalist that came out and specifically said, yeah, before interviewing Joe Biden, the campaign, when he was still running, came to me with the exact questions that I was supposed to ask. They handed it to me and they said, you better not deviate from this. You just ask what we tell you to ask, and that's how you're going to get your interview. You can't do that on a podcast episode. You can't do that when you have to think off the cuff and you have to think naturally and you have to, of course, talk in a kind of stream of consciousness way where you don't know what the next question is going to be, the next topic. And as we saw from the Joe Rogan podcast, it could go any of all ways. It could be deep down the rabbit hole. It could be very superficial. It could be a 2-hour conversation about apes and bonobos and chimpanzees, which I think would be fascinating to watch. What issues do you hope Joe Rogan kind of brings up personally that he would ask? Or what question would you ask if you're Joe Rogan and you're interviewing Donald Trump? I do the chimpanzee one immediately, but that's just me.
Well, I think they're going to be talking about their little 2-day mini beef. That would be nice to have them iron that out live in front of everybody. When Trump said that next time that Joe walks into the UFC,
people are going to boo him. Yes,
I know that that's going to be koshered, and that's going to be nice to see that was obviously just words spoken that aren't really meant.
Yeah. Donald Trump going after Joe Rogan. After there was a misunderstanding, specifically with people editing clips of Joe Rogan looking like he was endorsing RFK Jr. when he wasn't. He was just talking about how great RFK Jr. is.
Or him just speaking off the cuff.
And Donald Trump saw that, and then I don't know who around him sent him this kind of larger message, but essentially the word got to Donald Trump, which was incorrect, that Joe Rogan endorsed RFK Jr. And Donald Trump got really pissed at that. He launched an attack on Truth Social against Joe Rogan, and it did kind of ruffle the feathers of a lot of people in that kind of inner circle, and especially more importantly, the people in the middle. We have to understand here, we're set in our political beliefs, but there's still a lot of people, especially in a lot of these swing states, that haven't decided who they're voting for.
How could somebody not have decided yet?
Well, a lot of people don't pay attention to politics.
A lot of people hate both people.
Yeah, a lot of people are just dried up. A lot of people are just tired of all this nonsense, and they're too focused on surviving. They're too focused on just working and getting their kind of forms of entertainment. And those are the people, that are a big portion of America that sadly will be deciding the future of the United States.
Well, there's a lot of people that you got to remember are just getting engaged in politics for the first time. People that used to perhaps see their grandfather and say, I'm never going to be like him. And they find themselves getting politically engaged without having to do the homework. And they're being educated, whereas we were educated back in the day by, Bill Cooper and Alex Jones. They're being educated by MSNBC and whatever they throw on CNN.
Not even that. TikTok is more influential than it ever has been. The Instagram algorithm more influential
TikTok
than it
over
ever has
MSNBC.
been. Yeah. Now there's been an interesting kind of transition. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Donald Trump came out and said, if there is any kind of larger social media collusion with this election that goes up against me, I'm going to send people to jail for doing that. And then kind of overnight, YouTube on their front page now has Tim Pool on there. Now I could actually get some kind of larger messages out there on Instagram when I previously was blocked. I'm not getting. I don't know about you, Matt, because you also have a big.
Gas is going down too.
Yeah.
As I drove here, I'm seeing $2.98. I came from DC about a week ago, and I'm like, yep, they're making the prices go down. How's that magic happen right before the election?
Well, they're going through the reserves. So there is a change, and it does, especially with the larger kind of transition with Mark Zuckerberg going from.
I was just thinking about that.
Ultra
now he's
nerd
libertarian
to like a legitimate F boy. Like he looks like he literally is on Tinder now. And his kind of larger transition here, I think, highlights the establishment finding out that, there's no way Kamala could win.
I'm kind of annoyed with that, actually, because he really hurt my career, my comedy career. During COVID, my account almost got deleted like so many times, and I have so many restrictions from it just from telling the truth.
He's got that softer, cooler reptilian look now.
Yeah, yeah. He has.
How are you a libertarian that wants to censor free speech?
Yes. No, I'm mad at Mark Zuckerberg too. There was an update today that Facebook went down because of some kind of larger tech issue, some kind of larger problem. And I was like, good, I hope it stays down because it pisses me off. We're live right now on Facebook. It used to be the place that we used to get all of our kind of audience there. All of our web traffic was through there. All of the people that we were able to reach predominantly was through Facebook. That was our main way of communicating with the general public. We're live on a channel that has almost 1 million followers, and we have 8 people watching us right now on Facebook. Wow. So the levels of censorship, the levels of how Facebook played into all of this, and allegedly it's because the Democrats came to Mark Zuckerberg after 2016 and blamed Facebook for allowing Donald Trump to be president of the United States. And then they put the pressure on him in order to kind of acquiesce and work for the Democrats, which he did. If it wasn't for Zuckerberg in 2020 with his Zuckerbucks spending literally close to $500 million on the voter turnout effort, predominantly in Democratic voting areas, Joe Biden wouldn't have had that larger kind of voter turnout that a lot of people were surprised by.
Oh, yes. I was really surprised. I'm sure they were all there. So convincing.
Did he mention what caused this change to make him libertarian? Or
probably him looking at all of your secret data and realizing that a lot of people are waking up, and that if he doesn't wake up and become hip to what's really going on, that he would be in absolute trouble. And I think he understands that if Donald Trump becomes the next president of the United States, they're going to do the same things that they're doing to Elon. They're going to launch a lot of investigations. They're going to have a lot of disclosures, especially now with Kash Patel, RFK Jr., and all these other people coming forward, especially now with Elon Musk volunteering his time, saying, I'll help Donald Trump when he's in political office. I'll help him fire a bunch of people. Yeah, I'll gladly do that. But if he's in there, he has the kind of know-how to what happened to Twitter. When he released the Twitter files, he detailed specifically the Biden administration, the Democrats, and the intel agencies going to him and being like, yeah, that Hunter Biden laptop story, it's a little inconvenient for us. You're just going to make sure no one knows about it. So I think Mark Zuckerberg understands that if the Democrats win, he no longer has a platform. It's going to be the FBI platform. But if Donald Trump becomes president, he's in hot water. He might be criminally investigated. He might end up in jail. As, of course, Facebook did a lot of very underhanded, a lot of really ruthless, a lot of really evil things. If you remember, 15 years ago, I was specifically talking about their psychological manipulation programs that they were doing on unsuspecting users, seeing how they could emotionally sway people by messing with their algorithm. They're like, let's see how we can make them feel sad, and let's see what kind of actions relate to that. As, of course, Facebook knows when you literally are taking a dump. That's the amount of data that they have on you. And they were tweaking it. Let's see if we could get them angry. Let's see what happens when that emotion is evoked through, of course, the algorithm. So these are larger psychological studies that have been done for many years on end now. And when you're able to control people's emotions through the algorithm, you could control people fully, especially with the small things that you, of course, make them kind of ingest through the algorithm throughout a long period of time. You could shape people like a Pavlovian kind of dog in this kind of weird mind control like scenario. And it wouldn't surprise me if there's even kind of more kind of sophisticated mind control tools that have been utilized by a lot of these big tech social media companies through, of course, the intel agencies. But that's just my 2 cents.
But I think that's been going on the whole time. I mean, when they even came out with Facebook, there was a kind of different site that sort of had a new name change. So I don't think, that Facebook was just naturally born and everybody was just rating chicks hot or not. I think that it was already sort of, I don't know, suspiciously founded. And I think that's with all of them, right? Like, I don't even trust X. I know everybody's like, oh, Elon. But I mean, I think that there's a lot of censorship everywhere, and there's almost like this illusion that there's free speech in certain places. But we'll see. I mean, this is what we have right now. I'm glad that we have other platforms that are competing now, so that makes it a little bit better for the people.
This is what I think. I think if he's really libertarian, I need to be able to argue and say whatever I want with my trolls without getting them getting offended.
Yeah.
I want to say the R word. I want to say the G word, the F word, all of the F words. If you're a true
the one behind you,
if you're a true libertarian, you know that I can be a B word without having to say B word. Let me cuss some people out on the internet.
Yes.
You're a fake libertarian.
Exactly. And there should be, at least if he really cared, if he really was making some kind of legitimate change, he would feel bad about what he did. And he would provide some restitution towards all the people that he censored. He would say, hey, guys, I screwed over your careers, your companies, your economic opportunities. I'm a billionaire. I'm just going to give you back some money because I screwed you over. Here, we're going to open up the floodgates like Elon Musk did. And say what you might about Elon, because I recently criticized him too, especially with all the robotic crazy stuff that he's doing that aligns with the UN 2030 agenda. But say what you might about Elon. I think it's also Elon that pushed Mark Zuckerberg to understand that it's okay to have free speech in this country. And I think he kind of pushed him towards this kind of libertarian bandwidth. And if it wasn't for Elon, there wouldn't be any kind of competitive market demand for free speech like there is on Twitter that is thriving. And say what you may about Elon. Twitter's amazing. I love Twitter. You could say all the Z words, the C words, the D words, the N words.
And you have an expectation of finding crazy things. You don't.
Yes, it's like a Wild West again, like the internet always was. It's like
it's like an Easter egg.
Someone's
hunt.
getting
What are you gonna find
decapitated here. Oh, that's cool. Oh, someone's eating a cat here.
Remember
Live
Live
Leak?
Leak?
Look at that. Yeah. It's like Live Leak on steroids. Some of it is a little bit too much though. Like some of the gore stuff, and I'm like, I
don't know why
I'm
I
like,
keep getting
nope,
that.
I don't want to see that.
I'm still only on Facebook. I mean, I'm 43 years old. That's how you can sort of gauge people.
You're a boomer.
I know. And I never had a chance to transition to any of these other apps. Robbie has the best followers. You know, you go on his X and his account, and he's always in tune with everything. And you go into my X account, all you see is, scriptures and what's the last going on in Jesus community.
Are you getting a lot of hits on that?
No, I mean my people that I follow. No, I started doing a channel about like a year ago, but it's mostly stuff that's just sitting and I never actually published as far as the Jesus things.
Yeah. Steph, we have some super chats. Let's read those, and then we have another Joe Rogan clip talking about Donald Trump. That's very interesting.
Bad Joke 69 says,
Clint, please come home. I miss you. Steph misses you.
Even Luke misses you. Luke, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, Clint went out and said he's gonna, just go out for a pack of cigarettes. He'll be right back. So we're still waiting for him.
Oh, gosh.
We'll see if he comes back.
All right, we got the John Black saying if Donald J. Trump goes on Rogan, it needs to be on a Monday. That way he can go on Kill Tony with Tony Hinchcliffe. And Shane Gillis doing his Trump impression and Adam Ray doing his Biden impression.
Now, that is true. That actually is probably smart and probably will end up happening. Same way that he dragged Tucker over to Kill Tony. That would be quite a...
I might try to do Kill Tony soon.
In Austin?
Yeah. I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like something that his campaign is probably saying, Trump, don't do it. Don't. But I think Barron and other people and everyone else is saying, please do it.
That would be so
there's also, when it comes to comedy, you know about this more than anyone else. It could be hit or miss sometimes. So if Donald Trump tries to be too funny and he's not, and those punches don't land, especially in that kind of wild kind of situation, it could also look bad. But Donald Trump is hilarious. And I think this is why he has so much gravitas. He has so much popularity because he's kind of a comedian. If you look at his kind of speeches, it's stand-up comedy. It's humorous. It's lighthearted. It makes you really like him. It makes you kind of want to listen to him, and it kind of adds to this kind of larger cult of personality that is absolutely brilliant, and I think way better than anything Kamala could even dream of pulling off herself.
I've never seen him not be funny. I think that's his best attribute. He's always hilarious.
Yeah, he's super funny.
Even if you hate his guts, you have to admit that he's pretty funny.
Steph, you missed a super chat. Go up.
And if he did go on Kill Tony, he just would be absolutely insane. He should not do that.
Oh, I found it. We have Red
He should
Viking.
do it.
I think you
press
should
the
do
shutter
it.
button.
We got Red Viking saying, did Styx beat Clintina in New Orleans?
Could be true. I haven't independently verified it, but that could be why. Clint was on his way to get cigarettes and milk, and
That's what happened with my dad.
just That explains it. As of course, moving on. I'm sorry, Mac.
No,
I just
I
had
don't
to.
I can't get offended at a roast. I'm a comedian.
You set up a layup for me. I was like, I gotta get it there, get it out there. As of course, Donald Trump did say something recently, specifically about Donald Trump, that I think relates to our conversation and highlights the larger conversation that the two will be having, hopefully very soon.
It's weird because, you know, it's supposed to be the will of the people. It's supposed to be the government works for the people, and it's not that. It's some very bizarre, enormous amount of money that's being spent to make sure that the people in power continue to run things the exact same way. That's what I think they're really terrified about Trump. It's not necessarily even that he's a Republican. It's much more that he's a guy that is not going to play the game.
Yeah.
And then when he gets in there, he's going to like one of the things that he's talked about is having Elon come in and do some sort of a government efficiency agency. They're terrified of that.
Yeah.
Because it's not efficient.
Yeah.
You know, and he's going to come in with like that Tesla mindset. It's like you're working 16 hours a day and you're sleeping on the fucking couch.
Yep.
We're here to get some shit done. And you try applying that to government. That's, you know.
Yeah, he shaved. What did he shave? Like 80% of the staff off Twitter?
Oh yeah.
When he got it?
Yeah, he was like, what the fuck are you people doing? Why do you have so many people working here doing nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
He was right, especially if you don't want to censor people. Like, it's interesting how people react to it, that he's ruined Twitter, he's destroyed Twitter. No,
He made Twitter amazing. He made Twitter an amazing place to be on. I spend my time more on Twitter than I do any other social media platform. And if we implement what Elon did to Twitter, to the federal government, laying off 80% of the workforce, there's before and after photos of the workforce at Twitter. And then, of course, it was before, when it was still Twitter, it was a lot of frumpy, let's just be honest here, women. Now it's all Indians and Asian dudes. That's all it is. And someone took those photos. Twitter's running pretty well. It's running pretty incredibly. Sure, there's some things that I just don't want to see that pop up on my newsfeed. But now imagine we could streamline that with the government, with the DMV, with the Department of Education, with the
but also
FDA.
going backwards and looking at all the bids and contracts that have been that have happened there in paper, and reviewing who were the people that placed what bids, and to be able to dissect them and find algorithms of who been receiving what, when, and where. There's really a whole catalog and archive of evidence that could come out of reviewing the government and how they've operated.
That will be terrifying for the government.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The government's not going to be happy when people find out what the government has
really
been doing.
has been going on.
And then once we get off and lay off 80% of the workforce, there's going to be tears of joy. Here, just happening here on the show.
Nobody's going to lay off 80% of the workforce. I'm
Elon
sorry.
Musk could lay off 80%. It's not the workforce. They don't work. They're bureaucrats. They steal. They suck off their vampires.
I mean, you want to bet $5?
We could cut off 80% of the vampires in our lives. Imagine the amount of blood and life and economic prosperity we will have with 80% less government in my life. That sounds like a dream. I'm about to like not be able to control myself here on this particular show, because this is something that I've been dreaming about forever, and it sounds absolutely incredible.
Well, that was the whole point of this country, was to have a small government.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And then now look at us.
One, just the fact that all these bureaucrats are laid off and are going to have to face the real world. That right there in itself, that's already just one tier. And there's
no
gonna
more
be,
money laundering.
No more
Getting
nonsense.
paid off.
No more huge tax debt.
Are you guys
could be in a
kidding me
surplus.
right now? Like, do you really actually think that that's going to happen?
That's what Joe Rogan's talking about.
Oh, well, if Joe Rogan said so, I guess it's going to... I mean, come
That's
on.
how the world works.
Are we not
That's how our
adults?
algorithm works, and that's how our culture works.
I think if it doesn't happen, I think that we're like the general public is on the brink of attacking its own government.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't happen through Twitter, what's his name, Elon and Trump, I feel like another revolutionary war is on the horizon.
I still do think. I still think if Donald Trump wins, there's going to be a lot of kind of Antifa behavior, a lot of leftists kind of going crazy and stirring some problems up. And last time during the mostly peaceful summer of love during the BLM riots, Donald Trump kind of had a more hands-off approach on all this. So It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with the probable Soros-funded kind of uprising that will happen after he wins. Now, Joe Rogan continued on with his statements, and yes, Tatiana, what Joe Rogan says is gospel now. You don't know how society works. Have you forgot, Tatiana?
Yes, I'm sure all of them are just going to get fired. We're going to get ponies. The country's going to go up. Bitcoin go up. We're all going to get Trump coin. I can't wait.
Steph, what are you doing? As of course, here's the rest of the clip.
You could still block these crazy people if you want. You could still not see them if you want.
Yeah.
But what he's allowed is everyone to talk. Everyone.
Yeah.
And if you don't think that that's good, you're very short-sighted. And you don't understand human beings. Like, you cannot have human beings censored because someone is going to be in power and they're going to take advantage of that censorship. They're not different than us. They're not these incredibly benevolent beings who just want everything to work out well. No, they're people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are dirty people. Dirty, corrupt people that went to Diddy parties.
It's that control what they say, control what they think, you know?
And Epstein's
It's weird because
Island as well. These are some dirty people, and in my opinion, they don't deserve jobs. So this larger prospect, I know you're skeptical, Tatiana.
I want them to fire them all. I'm okay with that. I think that's a great idea, but I think that that's probably the most delusional of all the promises that we've gotten. I don't think we're going to fire 80% of people. If I'm wrong, I will cook all of you dinner.
Listen, we could all dream, okay? All right, we could all have a dream here. My goal,
I'm sorry, I'm
my
like the black-pilled one, but
ultimate.
like, come on, man.
That's not even the threat. The threat's not for them firing people. The threat is them optimizing how we work and making sure that we're not overspending. And what they're going to do is they're going to be able to show you how money has been funneled into what hands that money's been funneled to, because it's all through. This is how where all of our tax money goes, is by saying that we're going to do this project. Someone comes out and bids on the project. All of a sudden, $30 million out, and where did it go?
It's a no-compete bid a lot of the time.
And I'll just say this, 20 years ago, we had OCR, optical character recognition. Of course, you take every single document inside the government, you throw it into the AI, and they'll expose everything you could possibly imagine. That's what anybody could do if transparency was motivated.
Isn't the government one of the biggest supporters of Elon? Like, don't they give him a lot of money?
Well, he got his money through carbon credits, and he gets a lot of money through Department of Defense, especially when it comes to Starlink integration.
And the government.
Predominantly, yes.
Okay.
Elon's just practicing technical common sense at this point in time. When he has ideas, he's taking ideas that existed in my mind, but he's executing them.
Yeah, what he's been able to do with SpaceX has absolutely made NASA look like just uttering like buffoons. So he was able to get a lot more advancement when it comes to space technology done in a way more quicker, efficient way for a lot less money than we've been feeding into NASA. That has a lot of questionable ties.
That's super interesting.
It is a super weird organization.
Free market.
Just recently, he was being complained. He was saying that what's his name? What's the guy with the lizards again?
Mark Zuckerberg.
David Icke.
David Icke was just saying that, did a post on X talking about how NASA is way more advanced than Elon Musk's SpaceX, and that I thought that was really interesting that he was saying that.
David Icke said so. Okay.
But we know David Icke kind of complains about everybody these days.
Yeah, David Icke was complaining about me. You son of a gun! Like, what
David,
the hell's
read the
wrong with you?
Bible. Read the Bible. We're sick of hearing your garbage.
Yeah, I mean, we've interviewed Ike for many years now, and this kind of weird turnaround, like I'm like, really? From you? It was just kind of shocking and surprising. But I was like, that's it. I'm coming back at you, man. I'm like, you're absolutely crazy.
You will know a tree by its fruits.
Yeah. Yeah. Do people build or do people destroy?
That's for Elon Musk and for David.
So I was really disappointed with David. I'm already dealing with a whole bunch of other crap, and now I got David Icke talking trash about me. Like, no, I'm gonna fire back.
Say?
I'm gonna fire back. And this was like 2 days ago.
No.
And he was like, Luke, join the club. I'm like, you're talking about Costco? Like, what club are you talking about, bro? Like, what club am I in? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah, Luke's important. Luke's. Yeah,
He's a friend. I almost said something very bad about weight. in relation to the Costco statements. I'm glad he didn't.
But you can. You're free, Matt. To say
No, we love
whatever
David.
you
You know,
want.
not to go out. David's great. You know, he's completely brainwashed, and he's antichrist to the core. So because of that, he is my enemy.
Why? Why is he antichrist to the
Well,
core?
he was making fun of Russell Brand and
A lot.
I don't know if
and
I'm
Russell
buying
Brand.
that conversion, though.
Not for reason, just because you're sitting in the car with David. You know, Luke and I know him. You know, Luke knows him very well. You know, but I've been kind of one-on-one interactions with him for years, trying to see if he's a believer in the Lord and how he obviously is telling us stories about demons but refuse to call a spade a spade. And since I'm someone that knows I have authority over demons in the name of Jesus, I've been trying to get him to, hey, have you tried mentioning the name of Jesus? And he's always very resistant to anything that has to do with the biblical Jesus Christ. And I find that I have a little bit of animosity towards David because as much as he wakes us up to all of these larger realities, what does it matter if we become some new ager with, you know, chimes and rocks hanging around our neck?
Some of the rocks are pretty.
You had
They're
him there
nice.
for 10 years, and I blame David for that.
I like some of the rocks, but like this happened a couple months ago. David kind of came at me, and I'm like, "Hey, David, let's talk this out. Come on the show." Never responded to me. I was like, "That's kind of weird. You're coming at me with some smoke, whatever. I'll let it go." This time around, I was like, "Nah, man. It's on my Twitter at LukeWeAreChange. If you want to see my exchange with him." He hasn't responded to me after I responded to him, kind of, coming at me. Someone's in the chat spamming, Luke campaigned against Donald Trump. I didn't. I don't worship any politician. I'm critical of everybody, but I did vote for Donald Trump in 2016, 2020, and will be voting for him again in 2024. And even though I voted for him all those years, it doesn't mean that I'm just going to give him a blank check and I'm just going to worship people. I think everyone needs to be held accountable. No one's perfect. And I think us, the people, his constituents, are the ones who are supposed to say, hey, this is how I would like to be represented. Hey, this is the issues that I care about. And I think you're wrong, especially when it comes to this medical procedure or this, statement you made against the Second Amendment. And we have a right to voice our opinions and to respectfully disagree. And I think I've absolutely done that in an intellectually honest way. Same with Elon.
And in the Ron Paul days, you did the same thing. You refused to get on with even Ron Paul bandwagon, even though you were there supporting it.
Yeah, everyone's like, why do you hate Ron Paul? I'm like, no. I'm like, listen, even Ron Paul, of all people, the patron saint of liberty. I was like, I don't know about that guy. No, I'm kidding. I, of course, supported Ron Paul, but then also was like, but I would, respectfully disagree on this and this issue. I don't believe in gangs. I don't believe in cults. I don't believe in Kool-Aid. I don't believe in secret clubs and all this other stuff. I believe being as honest as I can, and I don't care who that offends. It offends a lot of people. People get pissed off. They're like, why don't you believe and support us no matter what? And I'm like, because I have my core principles and my core values that I deep down believe. Those are, of course, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and being anti-war. Those are my two kind of founding principles.
Those are pretty radical.
That put me probably on a couple FBI lists, that you guys are on now. I'm looking at you, Matt. That probably was one of the reasons why it got me, investigated and interrogated by the FBI.
Oopsie.
That's a crazy story surrounding that we probably shouldn't say. But anyway, that's what we have
I'd like to hear
deal
that
with.
on the next platform.
We still got a couple minutes before we head over there. But to me, truly, it is the attempted taking of Donald Trump's life that allegedly still continues to happen. We'll get into that story. That does kind of highlight a more desperate than ever establishment that really isn't happy with him. And if you look at the larger disruptions that Donald Trump has caused to the establishment, they are profound and they are big. And whether I agree with him 100% on issues or not, he is a juggernaut. He is a bull in a china shop, that china shop representing the bureaucratic deep state that he is giving his all to and kicking their butts. How can I not get behind that, especially when they're trying to take the guy out? So that's just my own 2 cents.
He's blaming Iran, though, and not them, which I also find weird.
The Iran stuff is we have news updates surrounding that as well. But yesterday, we got a new scare. As allegedly in Coachella, there was a Las Vegas man that was arrested. And automatically, I was on Twitter I was on the toilet, and it's like, oh yeah, they tried to take him out a third time, and I'm like, wait, what? Let me look into this. I started looking into. I'm like, that guy looks familiar. I see that guy at events all the time. Ven Miller, 49 years of age. There's a selfie of this guy and me on his social media platform. People are like reposting it, like, are you in on it, Luke? And I'm like, what? Like again, I'm getting tired of all this craziness and the nonsense. Maybe it's supposed to get me tired, or maybe it's some kind of psyop within a psyop. I don't know. But what came out online was that this guy was plotting to take the life. The police department even came out, said this guy said he was going to take out Donald Trump. The police department today, by the way, issued a statement saying, that didn't happen. We don't know why we said that to the general public. We just did. And the official story is that Ven Miller, who I just asked to be on the show, let me double check if he wrote me back, because we could call him. We're trying to call him now to just try to get him on the show so he could clear up his name. He just released a full-on 20-minute Rumble video saying how he showed up at the event and he was just entering the parking lot. There was a sheriff there. He remembered he had firearms in his trunk, and then he went to the police officer and said, hey, I have firearms. What do you want me to do about them in my car? Should I park here? Should I not be allowed here? What do you want me to do? And then the police there kind of turned this into an attempted assassination of Donald Trump's life, which independent media ran with. And I think it was even Tim Pool. Tim Pool was giving an address, and he saw all the updates. He saw like Nick Sorter and everybody else saying they just did it. They tried to take his life again. And he came out and he gave a speech starting off with, they just tried to take out Donald Trump again. That doesn't look like that's the particular case here. And the guy came out and says, I'm a big Trump supporter. I love Trump. I was invited. I'll show how I was invited. I'm going to now release the footage of the cameras from these police officers and tell everyone the true story of what happened here. But to me, I was a little disappointed seeing a lot of people just kind of run with it without questioning the greater details of it.
On that point, I'm just going to tell you, so could be absolutely mean nothing, but I'm driving yesterday and a channel that I'm not subscribed to whatsoever came into my feed on YouTube and started circulating this. And I find myself listening to some channel thinking it's somebody who I'm subscribed to, because no one gets beyond that, homepage wall. And I'm listening to some dude who's talking about this attempted third assassination of Donald Trump, and there's like 3,500 viewers. Little coincidental. So there's been these moments happening where all of a sudden a news story is like spreading everywhere wildly, and all of a sudden it's in my news feed on X, right? And I told you I'm not someone who subscribes to a lot of political sources on X. It's an indicator that they're trying to push us in this direction of this narrative, make these excuses so they can say that we're crazy as usual.
But it wasn't, I mean, I listened to the police report, the first one, and basically he was saying that this is a man that views himself as a sovereign citizen, and that the reason why he was seen to be suspicious after passing the first checkpoint was because he had illegal licenses. What are those? The license plate. He had a legal license plate on his vehicle. And that's how the whole investigation started.
Well, according to him, he went up to the police.
I never heard about that, so that's super interesting. I can't wait to hear more.
The police, we'll find out more. We'll see who's telling the truth through the body cameras that are going to be released here. But I don't see this guy, this Ven Miller guy, lying. I remember he was walking around an event. I'm like, look, it's Clint. Because he looks like Clinton a little bit. I was going to make a post about that, but then I was like, no, I probably shouldn't. I don't.
Where was the attempt?
Yeah, he had a pistol and a shotgun. Okay, if he had a rangefinder walking around the event 30 minutes, 2 hours beforehand, there's some red flags there. If he had something that
people know it's gonna sell news stories.
That's why.
Yeah.
So.
But I think also I put the burden on the police here. Because if Ven Miller is talking about the truth here, they literally made something out of nothing.
He should sue them.
Even the police at the end, they said, and you know what, we're going to pass this to the other agencies, and you're probably not going to hear from us again. I was like, okay, this is weird. It sounded super sus.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it absolutely is. As of course, there are real kind of attempts on Donald Trump's life. There are real bad people out there that are plotting to stir up a lot of problems, like this Afghan man that was just arrested by the DOJ, plotting a major attack on America on November 5th, which would have created a lot of chaos. That we found out, because we reported the story when it first broke. The story when it first broke, man stopped plotting major attack. This is the second part of this story. That man plotting this attack also worked for the CIA. Yep. You hear that correctly. This guy that was plotting to launch a major terror attack and was just stopped and thwarted by the Department of Justice was a security guard for the intel agencies in Afghanistan, as NBC News is reporting, as the CIA is not responding to any requests for comment on this particular story, to at least the Daily Mail. So yeah, a guy linked to the CIA was plotting a major attack here inside of the United States on November 5th.
What was he planning on doing?
He was buying up a lot of weapons and planning to, of course, use them on a lot of innocent people.
Wonderful.
Which would have, of course, impacted the election and created a very kind of uncertain situation for everybody.
No one ever goes after the not so innocent people. It's always just some poor random slobs that get it.
Slobs or Slavs?
Well, Slavs sometimes.
Slavs
I
too.
guess.
Slavs got the short end of the stick. We're getting screwed over here. The real slaves out there. The real people of color out there. But original OG. But anyway, going back to this topic of discussion, does this surprise you guys?
No.
Does it surprise you finding this out? And if this is something that's being thwarted, what do you think they could be potentially working on right now, as the establishment isn't doing too well right now?
There's just never any punishment for this stuff. Like, I feel like we just keep finding out, oh, look, here's some more corruption. Oh, look, we did this bad thing. And then just everybody's like, oh, well.
It's because it goes so much deeper than we even know. And so until it all unravels, we're just going to keep seeing little pieces here and there, here and there. That's what I think.
Well, I'm surprised the story actually came out. I was like, you would think they would keep that part, a little bit more quieter. Like, yeah, that guy just worked for the CIA. He was planning on causing, massive civilian casualties. November 5th, yes, that's great. As I really do believe, and I made this argument earlier today, that in between now and November 5th, this is still one of the most dangerous times for America. It's very uncertain. I think a lot of countries internationally see America as kind of a weak nation. A nation that has an old man that isn't really there at the helm of it, and Kamala Harris that allegedly is also fighting and arguing with that old man, as they can't seem to be
acting like a
able
real
to work
woman,
together.
acting like a woman, right? Just bitching all the time. Sorry,
that could be probably what Joe Biden's thinking right now, and they're probably not. That might not be too far off, as there was a very interesting Axios article today describing this kind of internal civil war. And it is kind of indicative of the poll numbers. It is kind of indicative of them not really doing that well in the polls and in this election. And I think that's when people become really frustrated. And I think a lot of them are getting frustrated. And I think that's why they're kind of biting at each other, fighting with each other. And we're seeing a kind of Democratic Party in disarray. And that's why I think there's going to be some kind of like ouster of Joe Biden personally. I think there's still going to be more October surprises. The latest scuttlebutt that we're getting is that Israel will be responding specifically against Iran before November 5th. So when that happens, that's also going to be something really major, as Joe Biden is also sending U.S. military boots on the ground and missile defense systems to Israel right now as we're speaking. So that was just my prediction. My prediction was they're going to try to oust Biden before now and November 5th, and then Kamala's going to look like a true leader during some kind of crazy situation, and then I think there's going to be greater escalations when it comes to foreign policy and international relations and war. And I made a very similar video the last day of September saying, hey, we're almost here at October. This is going to be the big surprise. There's going to be a big war in the Middle East, and we have a big war in the Middle East.
You know what's infuriating? The amount of money that they sent to Florida for relief versus the amount of money they've sent to Ukraine.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. The Florida government here has been doing a way better job than I think all the other
North
governments
Carolina
combined.
is the really bad state. I think they really got hit the worst, but it was a pretty big disgrace because they've got money for everybody, but not for our
us.
own
And
people.
it's our money.
Yes. Yeah.
If you guys don't remember, we're the ones that pay taxes.
Yeah. And then they take that money and then they give it to
Other people.
oligarchs and the military industrial complex and their friends.
If I'm going to be paying for all these other wars, I want citizenship. Like, I want property.
You know what's sad is that
in Ukraine.
the only October surprise that wouldn't be a surprise is another Trump assassination attempt.
That you think could happen.
Yeah, I'm saying that's what's sad is that you would normally an assassination attempt happening and saying, hey, this just took place would be a surprise, but I don't see that as being a surprise, and I do see that more news reports, something like that happening again in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump is actually requesting military support, specifically saying that he wants advanced military aircraft and vehicles, specifically because of the larger kind of Iranian threat against him. Joe Biden actually even came out today and specifically warned Iran that if they target Donald Trump, that this would mean an all-out war between the United States and Iran. So it's very interesting to see Joe Biden make these particular statements as the rhetoric between Iran and the United States really isn't that good. We still got a lot to say about the missile defense systems. I know you guys are biting at the bits to talk about America's favorite ally. So we'll be getting into that in a little bit, probably on the next particular platform. But before, headed over there, check out landofbiltong.com. This is a business that we work with, and it's a great business. It's an awesome product, and it's biltong. Instead of doing beef jerky at the gas station filled with a bunch of preservatives, fillers, and all this other nonsense, support a family-owned small business that supports independent media. They support a lot of great guys. I talk to Anton all the time. He's a great guy. He was on this show before. The city was giving him crap, obviously, since he's doing as much as he can to support alternative media. But truly, if you guys want some biltong, we got some at the table. Feel free to grab some yourselves. General Flynn absolutely loved it. And it's a family-friendly snack. It's low in carbs, packed with protein, making biltong the ultimate health snack. Biltong is a great source of iron and also serves as a source of several other essential nutrients, including magnesium, potassium, and B vitamins, which translates into exceptional gains in all aspects of life. If you follow any high-protein, meat-based diet, biltong should be an essential part of your diet. Code WRC for free shipping and promo code WRC10 for 10% off purchases over $50. We're also specifically working on a special promo code just for members of LukeUnfiltered.com. I was just on the Quarterings show that Biltong also sponsors, and he has a special promo code. I'm like, I want a special promo code for my members, so we're working on that as well. But go check them out. Great product. Atlas always salivates, but they're not dog treats, so I don't give them to Atlas. But Atlas, every time I have this in my bag, she smells it, and she's absolutely enamored in our Atlas dog cam. No, you may not have any Atlas, as of course this stuff is really great. And by supporting them, you support independent media as well. We're going to transition over towards the free speech platform that we are currently on the front page of. All you have to do is go to either rumble.com or to thebestpoliticalshow.com. And we, of course, will be continuing the conversation there on their particular platform. Thebestpoliticalshow.com is just a sure way of doing it. And just go there, thebestpoliticalshow.com, and we will continue the conversation there. Before moving over, Mac, where can people find out more information about you?
You can go Big Mac Lawson on pretty much every platform. And come watch my stand-up. It's very offensive.
Just the way we like it. And just try to move that mic just a little bit so it could just be a little bit more in front of you, because it wasn't as
What about that?
clear. That's better.
Okay.
That's awesome. Tatiana Moroz, where can people find out more information? Look at what kind of crazy gremlin creature you got on your freaking lap there.
He's so cute. I couldn't resist. He was just like pawing at me. This is Misha. I'm TatianaMoroz.com. You can listen to my music on all the platforms, and on Twitter, Queen Tatiana. Everything else, Tatiana Moroz Music. And also the Counterparty's been moved to January 25th to the 26th. So you'll see some of the people you've been seeing on this show and a bunch of other good speakers. And maybe you'll meet this beautiful little furball. So thecounterparty.com. And otherwise, yeah.
You should get Mac to maybe do a bit.
Do some stand-up?
Do some stand-up. Tatiana's also doing a dating show.
Yes.
Oh,
on
cool.
there as well. So,
All right.
So you ladies should talk afterwards. Matt, those cameras are pretty great.
Working out for you. Hey, yeah, check out over the next week or so, killingthegame.com. We're heading out to a few states here to be doing exit polling and really getting some good numbers on the streets of what the election results are looking like. So killingthegame.com.
Not a very SEO friendly name. I would definitely think of a different URL. But what is it? Killing the Game?
Killingthegame.com.
But the feds love hearing that one. But the SEO is not really good on that. Let's think of a new domain. But the very crazy, interesting, innovative idea you got going on that we will highlight more. Maybe we could do a live stream with you guys testing it out in one of the battlefield states, in one of the swing states, and you guys could be live, and we could see who are people supporting in real time through your data. We could have graphics up there. Maybe I'll even show up in one of the battleground states as well. So there's that. Steph?
Oh, this is Steph We Are Change on X.
Press the shutter button.
This is Steph WRC on X and Steph We Are Change on Instagram. Happy to push the buttons and move on to the next platform. See you there.
All right. It looks like we still do not have a caller for LukeUnfiltered.com. That caller could be you just by signing up right now. LukeUnfiltered.com. When you do that, you get access to a Telegram channel. I'm in there right now. And if you want to call in, let me know.